Hello, my lovely rose garden, and welcome back to Throne of Ass in the new year of
We're
2025.
back, motherfuckers.
It is time to come off of hiatus and start reviewing this book again, chapter by chapter. Because while some things might change, some things stay the same. And our hatred of this book, I expect, will be the latter. Chapter 32, let's do it. After cutting short their lesson in favor of a stroll, Alyssacles and Nehemia walked through the spacious halls of the castle, guards trailing behind them. Whatever Nehemia thought of the flock of guards that followed Alyssacles everywhere, she didn't say anything. Despite the fact that Yulemas was a month away, and the final duel 5 days after that. So we've got about a month left of this contest.
Oh,
I don't
God,
think
no. We're like
we're like barely into the last third of the book. This is gonna be the longest month of our fucking lives. Every evening for an hour before dinner, Alyssacles and the princess divided their time equally between Elway and the common tongue. Alyssacles had Nehemia read from her library books and then forced her to copy letter after letter until they looked flawless. Since they'd begun their lessons, the princess had greatly improved her fluency in the common tongue, though the girls still spoke Elway. Perhaps it was for ease and comfort, perhaps it was to see the raised eyebrows and gaping mouths when others overheard them, perhaps it was to keep their conversations private. How about all of the above?
Yeah.
Whichever reason, the assassin found the language preferable. At least Endovier had taught her something. Okay, well, it's a Nehemia-focused chapter, so we're all right for now.
Yeah.
You're quiet today, Nehemia said. Is something the matter? Alyssacles smiled weakly. Something was the matter. She'd slept so poorly the previous night that she'd wished for dawn to arrive early. Another champion was dead. Not to mention there was still the matter of Elena's command.
Another one?
Another one.
You couldn't start the chapter off with that?
Also, we're a month out from the final challenge. Can it be someone that we give a shit about? Like, how many people are left at this point? I haven't been doing the math to keep up, but I highly suspect that Sarah J. Maas hasn't been either.
Yeah.
There can't be that many people left in the competition if we're a month away from the final contest. I was up late reading it all. They entered a part of the castle that Alyssacles had never seen before. I sense much worry in you, Nehemia said suddenly, and I hear much that you do not say. You never voice any of your troubles. Doubt. That's all she does is voice her troubles.
Maybe it's just because we're in her brain, like, the entire time, but, like, yeah, literally all she does is gripe.
I know. Though your eyes betray them. Was she so transparent?
Yes.
Birds would smack into you thinking that you were an open window. We're friends, Nehemia said softly. When you need me, I'll be there. Alyssacles' throat tightened and she put a hand on Nehemia's shoulder. No one has called me friend in a long time, the assassin said. An inky black crept into the corner of her memory, and she struggled against it. There are parts of me that She heard it then, the sound that haunted her dreams. Hooves pounding, thunderous hooves. Alyssacles shook her head, and the sound stopped. Thank you, Nehemia, she said with sincerity. You're a true friend. So I know this from having explored the TV tropes for the series. In that, and I don't know if I've discussed this before. So the whole she's secretly the princess of Terrasen thing. She is aware of that. She didn't lose her memory or anything. She knows exactly who she is.
Oh, okay.
She
so
just actively chooses to, like, repress it out of shame for, I guess, not being able to save her kingdom when she was literally, like, 8 years old.
Okay.
And this is where I want to bring up a book that does this not exact same thing, but this idea kind of better of, like, when it's an obvious twist to the reader, but keeping it a surprise to the character. But, like, the whole time, and that would be Cinder. And I don't remember the author's name. I want to say Marissa Meyer, but I could be wrong about that.
You'd recognize Cinder. It's the cover with where she's got the foot in the shoe.
And it's a graphic novel, I think, also now.
Oh, okay.
So that's cool. But I mean, I never got like super into that series, but I at least enjoyed reading Cinder enough. Like, I just typically don't read series, so I didn't continue on with it. But that had like an interesting sort of play on this where it was very obviously inspired by Sailor Moon, and it really wore that on its sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were at all familiar with Sailor Moon as the reader, you knew what the twist was going to be. But for the character, it was surprising. Yeah. And I think it managed that pretty well, of having it be dramatic irony instead of just a very obvious plot twist.
I mean, okay, maybe it's just because, we're reading a middle grade-ish book. But it's all like, even without reading the TV tropes, I know that she's the lost princess TM. And I think that this is just Sarah J. Maas setting up for a plot twist where the audience would be like, yes, we know.
See, I thought the plot twist was going to be that, like, she had some kind of memory loss around it, and it turns out she doesn't. But even so, I really don't feel like it's been telegraphed well enough. I think it still comes off as kind of an ass pull.
Yeah.
Anyway, her heart was raw and trembling, and the darkness faded. Nehemia suddenly groaned. The Queen asked me to watch some acting troupe perform one of her favorite plays tonight. Will you go with me? I could use a translator. Alyssacles frowned. I'm afraid that you cannot go. Nehemia's voice was tinted with annoyance, and Alyssacles gave her friend an apologetic look. There are certain things that... Alyssacles began, but the princess shook her head. We all have our secrets, though I'm curious why you're so closely watched by that captain and locked in your rooms at night. If I were a fool, I'd say they're afraid of you. I mean, guards. Are there not guards on the other champion hopefuls?
Yeah.
I thought there were guards on everybody.
Like, people are getting murdered in this castle. Do you not have guards, Nehemia?
Yeah, where's your guards? You normally have a couple people around you. Again,
there's literally a serial killer just roaming around killing people, but, okay.
Once again, it just smacks of, didn't think about it, just put words on the page and called it good.
Yeah.
Which, we're all guilty of from time to time, but typically we try to find those moments in the editing and clean them up as best we can. The assassin smiled. Men will always be silly about such things. About what things? That's such a non sequitur response. Like, I really wish someone would just say, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean men will always be silly about such things? About what things? What are they being silly about? Because if anyone were to think about it, you would think that there wouldn't be guards around you because you're a girl, because men being silly about such things would usually refer to men underestimating the strength of a woman.
Sexism.
Sexism things going on. So they're silly for taking you seriously as a threat? Pick one, all right? You can't be mad at Kane for making fun of you and thinking that you're weak, and then also, like, saying that they're super silly to have guards around you. Pick one. She thought about what the princess had said, and worry slipped into her stomach. So are you actually on good terms with the Queen of Aeriel? You don't really make an effort to start off that way. You didn't really make an effort to start off that way. The princess nodded, lifting her chin. You know that the situation between our countries isn't pleasant right now. While I might have been a little distant with Georgina at first, I realized that it might be in Elway's best interest if I make more of an effort. So I've been speaking with her for some weeks now, hoping to make her aware of how we might improve our relations. I think inviting me tonight is a sign that I might be making some progress. You know, like an actual fucking political leader would do. Setting aside your own personal interests for the betterment of your country. Golly, I wish more politicians did that in the real world. And Alyssacles realized, through Georgina, Nehemia would also get the king of Aderlin's ear. No fucking shit. This is diplomatic relations 101. Alyssacles bit her lip, but then quickly smiled. I'm sure your parents are pleased. They turned down a hall, and the sound of barking dogs filled the air. Where are we?
Bork, 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 bork.
I love that. Where are we?
Where are we?
That's in the book. I didn't have to make it up. Also, Winnie's crying. Winnie! Baby girl! We're in here.
She forgot.
She forgot.
Anyway.
Moving on. The kennels, Nehemia beamed. The prince showed me the pups yesterday, though I think he was just looking for an excuse to get out of his mother's court for a while. Oh, hi, baby. You found us? All right. It was bad enough they were walking together without Kale, but to enter the kennels. Are we allowed to be here? Bitch, since when do you care? Nehemia straightened. I am Princess of Elway, she said. I can go wherever I please. Not really, but okay.
Yeah, like, you are still a political prisoner. Like...
More or less. Alyssacles followed the princess through a large wooden door. Wrinkling her nose at the sudden smell, the assassin walked past cages and stalls filled with dogs of many different breeds. Some were so large that they came up to her hip, while others had legs the length of her hand and bodies as long as her arms. The breeds were all fascinating and beautiful, but the sleek hounds aroused awe within her breast.
Titty.
Their arched undersides and slender long legs were full of grace and speed. They did not yap as the other dogs did, but sat perfectly still and watched her with dark, wise eyes.
Okay.
Sure, Jan. Are these all hunting dogs? Alyssacles asked, but Nehemia had disappeared. She could hear her voice and the voice of another, and then saw a hand extended from within a stall to beckon Alyssacles inside. The assassin hurried to the pen and looked down over the gate. Dorian Havillard smiled at her as Nehemia took a seat. Why, hello, Lady Lillian, he purred and set aside a brown and gold puppy. I didn't expect to see you here. Though with Nehemia's passion for hunting, I can't say I'm surprised she finally dragged you along. Alyssacles stared at the 4 dogs. I slipped. These are the mutts. Dorian picked one up and stroked its head. Pity, isn't it? I still can't resist their charm. Carefully, watching Nehemia laugh as 2 dogs leapt upon her and buried her beneath tongues and wagging tails, the assassin opened the pen door and slipped inside. Nehemia pointed to a corner. Is that dog sick? She asked. There was a 5th pup, a bit larger than the others, and its coat was a silky, silvery gold.
That doesn't make sense.
Unless this is some kind of, animal husbandry term that I'm not familiar with. Yeah, silvery gold. What the fuck is that?
It's either silvery, or it's golden. It's kind of like saying, oh, it's a yellowish blue.
Yeah, you don't really... That's just green, bitch. That shimmered in the shadows. It opened its dark eyes as if it knew it was being spoken about and watched them. It was a beautiful animal, and had Alyssacles not known better, she would have thought it purebred. Again, I don't know enough about animal husbandry or dog breeding to dispute this, but I feel like there are more ways to tell if a dog is not a purebred.
Yeah.
It's not sick, Dorian said. It just has a foul disposition. It won't come near anyone, human or canine. With good reason, Alyssacles said, stepping over the legs of the crown prince and nearing the 5th pup. Why should it touch someone like you?
She's gonna horse girl her way into this dog's heart, and then it's gonna, tear her fingers off.
For real. Why wouldn't it come It doesn't know that he's the prince of a corrupt kingdom. It's a puppy. Typically, dogs are social animals. So if a dog is not being social, that's generally a sign that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But of course, this is going to be an allegory for how she's also standoffish and cold, except she's not. She really hasn't been. Like, she's been flirting with him. She's friends with Nehemia. She's got a couple other competitors that she's pretty chummy with.
She's just kind of a bitch.
Yeah, she's just kind of a bitch. But and this is such a thing. Like, I don't know what the trope would be called, but it always seems to be like a thing in young adult books with female protagonists where they like get an animal companion and then that animal companion does literally fuck all. I am not over Raven getting a cat in Vampire Kisses and then it basically never showing up again. Like, okay, completely different tangent about a completely different book because one day I will review all of the Vampire Kisses books. I have book 9. I haven't read it yet, but I have them all and I will do this someday. I'm going to do an epic reread of the whole series straight through. Yeah, in one of the books, Alexander takes Raven to like this mother cat that's given birth recently, and the whole family is white except for one black kitten. And Raven takes the black kitten home, and after that book, I don't think it ever shows up again. And I'm like, you can't just be taking kittens home. They require care and like supplies and shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. I just hate when randomly like the heroine gets an animal for no reason other than because people like animals.
Yeah.
If it won't respond to humans, then it will have to be killed, Dorian said offhandedly, and a spark went through Alyssacles. Kill it? Kill it? For what reason? What did it do to you?
This is fucking Fern from Charlotte's Web. Just because it's small.
It won't make a suitable pet, which is what all of these dogs will become. So you kill it because of its temperament? It can't help being that way. She looked around. Where's its mother? Perhaps it needs her. Okay, I'm just gonna let you take this rant.
I'm just over here. It's like, because if a dog has a bad temperament and can't be trained, can't be used as a pet, and this is like a kingdom in the middle of what, like
it's the Victorian Dark Ages.
Victorian Dark Ages. Yeah, the dog. What are you gonna do? Release it into the wild? Like, if it's not suitable as a pet and it's not suitable to be trained to hunt or whatever. Yeah.
That's what happens.
And this is just, I don't know. This just feeds into my whole like, someone from this time period would be aware of this, you know.
It wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah, it wouldn't be shocking. And it's just all like, this is how you can tell that Alyssacles is just a modern day someone who knows what an iPhone is.
Yeah.
Like, girl with modern day values being projected into this time period where this would be normal.
Yeah, like, that's not to say that she has to be okay with it or have no dissenting opinion, but it would be fairly common knowledge.
Yeah.
The only thing that surprises me is that it's described as larger than the other ones instead of being the runt.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the runt of the litter that gets neglected by the mom would make more sense here.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Its mother only sees them to nurse and for a few hours of socialization. I usually raise these dogs for racing and hunting, not for cuddling. It's cruel to keep it from its mother. Not if it's being weaned?
Yeah, like, once again, hello. This girl doesn't know anything about animal husbandry, just in general. It's all like, yeah, like, if they're gonna be given off as pets and trained, like, yeah. If they're only seeing their mother for feeding, it makes sense.
Yeah, like if they only spend a couple hours with the mom at this point, they're probably going through the process of weaning.
Yeah.
Which, you know, they still see her a little bit, but they're getting off milk.
Yeah.
It's cruel to keep it from its mother. The assassin reached into the shadow and scooped the puppy into her arms. She held it against her chest.
Chews off her hand, like, because, you know, it doesn't have a good disposition.
I won't let you harm it. If its spirit is strange, Nehemia offered, it would be a burden. A burden to whom? It's nothing to be upset about, Dorian said. Plenty of dogs are painlessly laid to rest each day. I don't see why you would object to that.
Literally, you kill people for money.
Again, the values dissonance.
Yeah, it's like, even Nehemia is just all like, yeah, this is normal. I don't know why you're freaking out, iPhone face girl. Like...
Well, don't kill this one, she said. Let me keep it, if only so you don't kill it. And how are you going to provide for that animal?
Yeah, what? Do you have a weaning kit up there? Like...
Dorian observed her. If it upsets you so much, I won't have it killed. I'll arrange for a home, and I'll even ask for your approval before I make a final decision. You'd do that? What's the dog's life to me? If it pleases you, then it shall happen. Her face burned as he rose to his feet, standing close. You promise? He put a hand on his heart. I swear on my crown that the pup shall live. She was suddenly aware of how near to touching they were. Thank you. Yeah, so this is all just, oh, look, he's a nice guy because he likes puppies. And she's a good person because she likes puppies. And Nehemia's just kind of standing in the corner going, what the fuck just happened?
Unless your name is Cruella de Vil, you like puppies to an extent.
I have never met a single human being who hates puppies. I have met people who prefer kittens. I have met people who don't like grown-up dogs or have a fear of grown-up dogs. I have met people who wouldn't want to personally take care of a puppy, but I've never met someone who fucking hates puppies.
It's just kind of a hard thing to do. Like, the whole point is the point of things like puppies and kittens is that they are so cute. Our brains are designed to be endeared to them and take care of them.
It's kind of the whole social aspect of our biology. Speaking of things that are cute, look at Frodo building a new little nest. You gonna pick up that piece of fluff and move it just so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good job, Frodo.
But yeah, I'm just like, God, I really wish that people would stop trying to be all like, to transplant like modern day values one for one into a character that is not only supposed to be not from the modern day, but also like is supposed to already be kind of morally gray.
Literally kills people for money.
Literally kills people for money, but oh my God, this dog that wouldn't do well as a pet or be trained to be a hunting dog, you're going to kill it? How dare you? It's like,
and not even in one of the like fucked up ways. He straight up said painlessly.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
But all right. I know it sounds like we're defending a very weird point here, but again, this is not something that would be strange to someone in this setting.
Yeah, like whenever I read these books, I try to like, you know, think about, okay, well, what would the morals and, you know, ethics of this world be like? Because, you know, it's the same thing with like just a lot of things, like, you know, them seeing women as less capable, even more so than they do today. It's like, you know, yeah.
This is the chapter where Sarah J. Maas found out about something from PETA and just threw it in.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, kill shelters exist in our world today. Like, and you can have whatever complex feelings you want to have about that, but they do serve a necessary function in society. just... okay, I'm moving on. It's a weird thing to get hung up on. I'm moving on. Nehemia watched them from the floor, her brows raised, until one of her personal guards appeared at the gate. "It's time to go, princess," he said in Elway. If it's her personal guard, we can assume he's speaking in Elway. Can we stop? "You must dress for your evening with the queen." The princess stood, pushing past the bouncing puppies. "Do you want to walk with me?" Nehemia said in the common tongue to Alyssacles. Alyssacles nodded and opened the gate for them. Shutting the gate, she looked back at the crown prince. "Well, aren't you coming with us?" He slumped down into the pen, and the puppies immediately leapt on him. "Perhaps I'll see you later tonight." "If you're lucky," Alyssacles purred and walked away. She smiled to herself as they strode through the castle.
Everyone's purring up in here.
Eventually, Nehemia turned to her. "Do you like him?"
Stop.
Oh, here we go. God damn it. Can we talk about something that's not boys? I know they've talked about things that are not boys in the past. But can we continue that? Alyssacles made a face. "Of course not. Why would I?" "You converse easily, and it seems as if you have a connection." "A connection?" Alyssacles choked on the word. "I just enjoy teasing him." "It's not a crime if you consider him handsome. I'll admit I judged him wrong. I thought him to be a pompous, selfish idiot, but he's not so bad." "He's a Haviljard." "My mother was the daughter of a chief who sought to overthrow my grandfather." "We're both silly. It's nothing." Damn, can I hear more about the Elway politics? Again, why isn't Nehemia the main character? Nehemia and Dorian would be a way more interesting couple to watch get together.
Also, I'm just like, I really hate this whole like, oh, do you like him? Because you talk easily. And like, I'm just like, so that could just mean friendship. Why does it always have to be, do you want to have sex with him?
A male and female in close proximity.
Sex! It's like, maybe they're friends. Maybe they're friends. Maybe they can just be friends.
He seems to take great interest in you. He's her sponsor.
Yeah, he's her sponsor.
If nothing else, that would explain a lot of the chemistry between them fairly easily.
Though, does Nehemia know that?
I assume so, because it's not a secret that Dorian is sponsoring Lady Lillian.
I don't know.
Alyssacles' head whipped around, her eyes full of long-forgotten fury that made her belly ache and twist. "I would sooner cut out my own heart than love a Haviljard," she snarled. Ooh, watch them words, girl. Yeah, but we're gonna have this cute little puppy moment, and then just be like, damn, bitch. Down. They completed their walk in silence, and when they parted ways, Alyssacles quickly wished Nehemia a pleasant evening before striding to her part of the castle. The few guards that followed her remained a respectful distance away, a distance that grew greater each day. Based on Kael's orders, night had recently fallen, and the sky remained a deep blue, staining the snow piled upon the panes of the windows.
Piled upon the panes.
Panes are vertical, last I checked?
Yeah, maybe they meant windowsills.
I hope. She could easily walk right out of the castle, stock up on supplies in Rifthold, and be on a ship to the south by morning. Then do that.
Yeah.
Do it, bitch.
Why do you keep saying that you could do this and then not do it?
It's like, you know, that one person who's like, oh, I could beat you up, and then you're like, okay, take the first shot.
Do it.
No, I'm not gonna, I don't need to. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Alyssacles stopped at a window, leaning in close to the panes. The guard stopped too and said nothing as they waited.
Okay, so she does know what panes are. She's leaning in close to the panes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like stained glass, so there's little bits for snow to catch on.
I don't know.
Who knows? The coldness from outside seeped in, kissing her face. In my brain, just in the back of my mind, Nicholas just went, they would not do that.
They would not fucking do that.
The coldness did not kiss or anything. Would they expect her to go south? Perhaps going north would be the unexpected choice. No one went north in winter unless they had a death wish. Something shifted in the reflection of the window, and she whirled as she beheld the man standing behind her. But Cain didn't smile at her, not in that mocking way. Instead he panted, his mouth opening and closing like a fish wrenched from water. His dark eyes were wide, and he had a hand around his enormous throat. Hopefully he was choking to death. "Is something wrong?" she asked sweetly, leaning against the wall. He glanced from side to side, at the guards, at the window, before his eyes snapped to hers. His grip on his throat tightened, as if to silence the words that fought to come out, and the ebony ring on his finger gleamed dully. How can you gleam dully?
Yeah.
That's an oxymoron.
And also it's ebony, so it's going to have at least a slightly dimmer gleam. So you don't really have to say it's duller. Because it's not a metal.
Yeah.
It's stone.
It's stone. Even though it should have been impossible, he seemed to have packed on an additional 10 pounds of muscle in the past few days. In fact, every time she saw him, Cain seemed bigger and bigger.
He's roiding.
He's roiding out.
Roid rage. Let's go.
He's gonna morb all over.
I love it when he morbed all over that guy.
It's morbin time. Her brows knotted, and she uncrossed her arms.
Her brows knotted? Wait, does it say knotted?
Brows knotted.
It's supposed to be knitted, right?
Yeah, you knit your brows together.
Yeah.
You don't knot your brows.
Your brows kind of go over each other and kind of
over and over and through.
Yeah. There's a spelling error. There's a spelling error in this fucking what?
I mean,
is it a New York Times bestseller or whatever?
I mean, there's spelling errors in every book. I'm not going to fault them too badly for that. I will fault them for the clear choices that were made, like the number of M dashes and ellipses that are a definite choice. God.
I just like finding spelling errors and like
it does make
bestsellers and whatnot.
It does make me feel better about my spelling errors. Cain, she said, but he took off down the hall like a jackrabbit, faster than he should have any ability to run. He peered a few times over his shoulder.
Bitch, run!
Not at her or the confused and murmuring guards, but at something beyond. Maybe a guard should be following him? Perhaps.
Yeah,
where's his guards?
Yeah, where are his guards? What the fuck?
Alyssacles waited until the sounds of his fleeing footsteps faded, then hurried back to her own rooms. She sent messages to Nox and Pelor, not explaining why, but just telling them to stay in their chambers that night and not open the door for anyone.
Pelor's the one doing it, man.
I wish it was that interesting. Okay, so Nox and Pelor are still around. Are we gonna have to fight them in the final trial?
Knows? No, does the book care?
I don't think it does.
The book doesn't fucking care.
Like,
they're just all like, they'll probably like do their damnedest to skip over as much as the final battle as they possibly can.
Yeah, they'll probably just be like, oh, Nox and Pelor fought and so won, and now it's Alyssacles versus Cain, and that's the only one we'll actually see. I really feel like there's such a dearth of Nox and Pelor content in general.
Yeah.
There really should be more of them. Like, you would think if she was going to be forming a camaraderie with anybody, it would be them.
I mean, I'm sure that they only last this book.
Yeah, I doubt they're ever going to show up again. And I could be wrong, because apparently Lady Caltaine shows up again. But
well, yeah, but she's part of the, like...
She's an antagonist, though.
Yeah, and she's part of the palace stuff. Like, these guys are just here for the tournament.
She's actually had a POV, however slight. Well, that was chapter 32, so we are closing in slowly on the finale. I hope that we reach it sooner rather than later, and I hope that you all are enjoying this. And if you want to support us in continuing to produce these episodes and many of the other things we do, please check out my Ko-fi account or Patreon. You can support there by buying books directly from me, or becoming a monthly supporter, or just leaving a tip in the tip jar. And if you want to see more content, you can also follow me on my other social medias, or just subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do try to have a new video up at least once a week, talking about writing, books, and the books that I write. And I think that's everything. So, thank you for listening, and keep growing till next time, Rose Garden.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!